Hello, welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy this week's chapter of Ballet by Lacey Rice.
On Monday, I got home from school. Mom's car wasn't in the parking lot, so I figured that I still had some time to myself before Mom turned me into a kid for my first ballet class. All day today during school I couldn't help but reminisce about how easy it was to be 10. Somehow, I can't wait to become younger again. I walked upstairs to my room and looked around. Mom said that she was going to get my new ballet stuff that I need for my new class. But all I saw was a small bottle that I know is the potion to make me a 10-year-old, and a box and a note saying Mom will be home soon. I took the bottle and looked at it for a moment. The small bottle felt cool in my hands as I examined it, realizing the significance it held for the upcoming transformation. I read the label carefully, noting the instructions and the cautionary warnings. There was a mix of anticipation and nervousness churning within me, knowing that this elixir would make me a kid again. Also, the color was different than I expected. The liquid inside was pink, and for a moment I thought Mom was trying to trick me into becoming a girl. But Mom will never do that. She's mean, but not change a kid's gender mean. The door creaked open, and I looked to see Mom entering with a bag in hand. She wore a warm smile as she saw me holding the bottle. "Ready for your first class, Owen?" she asked. I nodded. "Yeah, I guess so. Just a little nervous, you know." Mom patted my shoulder reassuringly. "It's normal to feel that way. Ballet is a beautiful form of expression, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Now, let's get you prepared for your first lesson." I nodded and looked in the mirror. Saying goodbye to my old self temporarily, and I gulped the pink liquid down. The room spun with a dizzying whirl as I took a sip of the potion. The familiar surroundings of my bedroom blurred and shifted, and I felt a peculiar sensation as if I were being lifted off the ground. The air shimmered around me, and for a moment, I was suspended in a weightless void.
I opened my eyes to find myself standing in my room, but everything appeared larger than before. My clothes felt loose, and when I looked down, I saw my jeans had fallen and the t-shirt I had been wearing was now almost like a dress on me. Mom was gone, she probably went downstairs. I was too short to look into the mirror. I felt the top of my head and I could feel long hairs from my head. I quickly moved my hands down to my face, and I felt the smooth skin of a child. But it wasn't a face that I remember as a kid. Plus, I never had long hair. Panic set in as I crawled onto my bed. The bed gave me just enough height so I could see myself in the mirror, and right then and there I realized that the transformation had not only made me younger but looking into the mirror, the reflection looking back at me was a 10-year-old girl. My heart pounded in my chest as I stared at my reflection, disbelief washing over me like a tidal wave. This couldn't be happening. I hadn't signed up for this. My mind raced, trying to make sense of the impossible situation. Frantically, I reached up to touch my face again, hoping that maybe it was just a trick of the light. But the soft, delicate features were undeniable. I was now a girl, and there was no denying it. "Mom?" I cried out in shock. I held onto my new long brunette hair as I tried to think about what I now was. I heard Mom coming up the stairs to my room. But she didn't rush like I had expected her to. Instead, she seemed to be taking her time to get here. Did she not know that I was in panic mode? Mom finally opened my door and came in. She looked at me and then smiled. "I see the potion worked perfectly," she said, looking me up and down. "Perfectly?" I asked in shock. "How is this perfectly?" "Well, you said you wanted to be a 10-year-old for your ballet classes, didn't you?" "A 10-year-old boy," I said, correcting her. "A 10-year-old male child. Not this little girl." "Well, maybe you'll think about this next time you ask me to help you out with magic so you can spy on girls then." I stopped for a second. How did Mom know that Lucas and I's plans? I know everything, little girl. Mom said, folding her arms. And maybe this will teach you that teen girls don't like to be spied on. So, you're not going to turn me back into a boy? I asked as I looked at her pleadingly. I think you look beautiful just as you are. Mom replied, crossing her arms. As my little 10-year-old daughter, for a few times a week just like we had planned. I'm not doing the ballet class then. I said. I started to leave the room, but then I heard Mom from behind me. Cassandra and Robert's kid back here. I stopped and looked back at Mom. Cassandra? I asked questionably. Really, Mom? Or Cassie for short? Mom said proudly. I sighed. My mother was crazy. There is no way I will be a girl part-time for her. This was not our agreement. Mom went over to my bed and grabbed the bag that was on my bed. She pulled the clothes that were inside of it out of the bag and laid out each of the items of clothing. They were normal clothes for a girl my age. A pair of blue jeans, and a light blue t-shirt. The only thing that was wrong with the outfit was the pink panties. I kicked myself in the butt. If I had looked inside of the bag before I had taken a drink, I would have known that Mom planned to turn me into a girl. The evidence would have been right there. So, are you going to put on your clothes? Mom asked me. I looked at her wondering what I could do. Right now, my t-shirt was on me, covering me like a dress. Both my jeans and boxers were laying in front of dresser. They were too big now to be of any use, all my clothes were. I sighed, knowing that I had no choice but to put on the clothes. I can use magic for another year, and to my knowledge there was no other way for me and Lucas to turn into kids twice a week. At least Lucas is still going to be a 10-year-old boy, there is no way Mom also turned him into a girl too. I sighed, thinking about what Lucas is going to say when he finds out that I am in the body of a little girl now, while he still gets to be a boy. I reluctantly slipped into the clothes Mom had laid out for me. The reality of my situation sank in deeper. The fabric of the jeans felt strange against my legs, and the t-shirt hung loosely on my smaller frame. I couldn't shake the feeling of discomfort and frustration that gnawed at me from within. Mom watched silently as I dressed, her expression a mix of amusement and satisfaction. She seemed pleased with her handiwork, oblivious or indifferent to my inner turmoil. Come on, Cassie, Mom urged, gesturing for me to follow her out of the room. We should get going if we want to make it to your ballet class on time. Reluctantly, I trailed after her, my mind racing with a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. How could Mom do this to me? Turning me into a girl wasn't part of the plan. I had only wanted to be younger, not a completely different gender. As we made our way downstairs, I couldn't help but feel a sense of dread building within me. How would I face my classmates at ballet class like this? What would they think of me? And what about Lucas? How would he react when he saw me like this? The car ride to the ballet studio was tense and awkward. Mom tried to make small talk, but my mind was elsewhere, consumed by the weight of my new reality. I couldn't bring myself to speak, the lump in my throat growing with each passing moment.